Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be talking about some ways you can use up the products that you have in your collection that you don't like. Now there's the obvious things that you can do, which is to donate to a local women's shelter if you can. There's some products that you can't. You can donate to a friend, which I like to do all the time. There's several things that you can do, and I encourage you guys to list some of those down below along with some of your things that you like to do to try to use up products. But I'm talking about these are things that are staying in your collection. You don't know what to do with them. You don't want to throw them away. You would love to get through these products, but you're not sure how. I've made a little list of things that you can do to try to use up these products, and I'm going to start off with powder. Powder, just like everything else that we put on our face, is something that some people like and some people don't. I might like something and you might not, and you might purchase it because of me. And I'm so sorry if you don't like something that I suggested. But if you have a powder, especially if it's translucent or if it's too light, I'm going to give you an example of something that's a little too light for me. I love this powder. It is something I have raved and raved and raved about, but I have two shades of it. The one that I am currently using is this one right here, and this is the shade 40NN, and this is a good match for me, but this one is not. This is 30NN, and I think you can see right whenever I open it why it's not a good match for me. It's just a little too light. There's several different things you could do with this. If you like the powder, you could use it if it's too light to brighten up the center of your face, or something that I personally like to do is I will use something like this or a translucent powder that I don't enjoy, and I will set underneath my brow arch. So I will go ahead, I prime my eyes, and I always set just right underneath my brow arch. And I like to take a brush like this. This is the MAC 252, and I kind of will diffuse the line where I have carved out my brows as well. So you can take this and do that, and it will set that area. Or if you're somebody who sets the entire eye, you can use it to set your entire eye if you wanted to. But I like to just set right underneath my brow arch, and then I will kind of blur the line where I have carved out my brow. So that is something that I like to do with a powder that is too light if I do not like it on my face. If I do like it on my face, well, then I can just dust it down the center of my face, and you know, I can add a little brightness. If it's too dark, you can use it as a transition shade. You can use it as shadow. You can do whatever. You could even use it as a bronzer or something that is going to add a little warmth to your face without going for the full-on glam. Concealer. I have concealers that I don't like for various different reasons. It could be too dark. If it's too dark, like, let me show you. This one right here, this is the Lancome Tint Adult Ultra Wear Camouflage. This covers up some anything. Very, very little, use very little. But this shade is too dark for me. However, it is such a good corrector. So if I need something covered up, dark covers dark. I will use this, and I like to use it even on my sun damage sometimes. And I put that on, I kind of let it set a little bit, and then I will go on with my foundation. So this might not be a good color for underneath my eyes or even spot correcting because it's too dark, but for covering up darkness, it does an amazing job. If it's too light, you can always brighten up your under eye. You can mix it. So I have two different shades. I actually have a couple different shades of this concealer. This one right here is too light for me. This one's too dark. If I mix the two, they are perfect for me. For concealers that you just don't like, it could be the right color, but you just don't like it. If it's a matte concealer, like something I used to use all the time, but I don't use it anymore, the Tarte Shape Tape, as you can see, this one is now done. I just finished this. I went through my Anastasia Beverly Hills eye primer, which is so good. And I knew that I liked this as an eye primer because I've used it so many times. I decided, I think I have one more that's a different color, but I decided that I was going to use this up just by using it as an eye primer. But what you want to be careful of is not to use something that's too hydrating on the eye or anything that contains oil, because if you use that, and you do your eyeshadow, then you can have creasing and issues like that. You want to make sure that you're using something that kind of dries down, that has more of a matte finish. And if you want an extra layer of protection, you can go in and you can set the entire eye. If it's a hydrating concealer that you don't like, I like to do this. Sometimes the rest of my face can be completely normal, or it's combination self, oily, normal, it'll be dry in different areas. But I want to wear a specific foundation. I will take a hydrating concealer like the one from YSL, and I will go right around my mouth with that because it's a good color match. I tend to wear the same color for my under eye as I do for the rest of my face. So I will go around my mouth with that concealer because I want to go through it. It's not something that I like underneath my eyes as much as I do other ones, but I need a little bit more hydration around my mouth. So I'm going to take that hydrating concealer and I will go around my mouth. And this is how I will go through a concealer that might not like underneath my eyes or as a primer, but I like it in other areas. Or even if you have areas of dryness on your face, you can use that. Like say you had a pimple and you know if you have picked at a pimple that it can be dry. If you take a concealer that's a little bit more hydrating and put it on top, it won't look as bad. Bronzers. Now, I don't think I have anything in my collection that I just do not like. There's some that I have to be careful of with ingredients, but just overall, there's nothing in my collection that I just do not like. Not as of now. I was looking through and I couldn't find any. So this one right here, I do like. This is from Sicily. I just grabbed one, you guys. But if you find that you have a bronzer that is too dark for you, you don't like the texture of it, or it's just something about it that you don't like, or even if it breaks you out, because some bronzers will have like the coconut derivatives in it and I can't use it. I can use it maybe a day or two, but then after that, it's like, I like to take a bronzer and use it as my transition shade. So on days that I'm just doing just my makeup, and I say just my makeup like I didn't just do my makeup today. If I'm just doing a more natural look and I'm wearing bronzer, I will specifically take a bronzer and I'll keep it in the drawer of my favorite bronzers. And I will try to go through it by using it as my transition shade whenever I'm not doing a full-on makeup look. It's one of my favorite things to do. I won't use any other shades. I will set my eye, go in and use it as a transition to just add a little something, and I put it right underneath. And it might take you some time, but you can definitely go through your bronzer that way. And if you're somebody who likes to do some contouring on the body, you can do that as well. You can warm up areas of the body with the bronzer that maybe you don't love. Primers. There's all different kinds. There's the gripping kind, there's the blurring kind, there's the hydrating kind, several different kinds. So it just depends on the type of bronzer. I'm already thinking, I'm going right back to bronzers. It just depends on the type of primer that you are using. Let's say a gripping primer. I like this, so don't think that I don't, but this is a very grippy primer. If you didn't like this, you could again use it on your eyes, and you want to use a teeny tiny little bit, and then set it with a loose powder or a shadow, and you can use it as an eye primer. That works. A hydrating primer. This one is Natural Radiance. This is something I used to use all the time. This one actually has oil controlling properties as well as hydrating, but if you have a hydrating primer that you don't like, use it on your hands. Why not? I mean, it's got hydrating properties in it, so why put it to waste? You can put it on your hands. Almost all primers will give you some kind of smoothing aspect, and then the extra hydration will make your hands look amazing. If you have one of those putty type blurring primers, you can also use that on your eyes. You can use it on your smile lines. You can also try to use it underneath your eyes. The thing with this is that you really want to make sure that you're using a small amount, and just try it in different areas. Sometimes there's things that I do not like on my pores, especially if it has a lot of silicones in it. My pores hate that, but then right where my smile lines are, it's perfectly fine, and it works really well to smooth out lines underneath the eyes. For blush, again, this is not one that I do not like. A lot of these things that I'm picking up, I'm just using as examples. I'll tell you if I don't like it. You can use blush for several different things. You can go and have just like a little bit of gloss, just enough to give you a little bit of stick. Take your blush and go on top of that, and then add a little bit more gloss, and it will give you a little bit of tint. You can use this on your eyes just like your bronzer. You do have to be careful Blushes do contain some things that can be irritating to eyes, so make sure that you are not sensitive to the ingredients. And that kind of goes with everything that I'm talking about today. Make sure that wherever you're placing these items, that you're not sensitive to the ingredients and where you're putting them, especially on the eyes. But me personally, I can put blush on my eyes all day long and I have no problem with it. That doesn't mean that you won't though. But I love to add, especially for a monochromatic look, I love to do the bronzer, add a little bit of blush, and have the blush on the cheeks. You can also mix. So say you have a blush that's too light, you can mix it with another blush and just go through it that way. So I could take this one and the one that I am wearing today. This is Tom Ford Inhibition, and then this is Jane Iredale Copper Wind. And you can see there's definitely a difference in tone here. So if I wanted to not be this dark, but not be this light, you could go in and mix the two. Brow pencils. I know a lot of us have gotten brow products that we're just like, oh, I do not like this on my brows. I feel like it's too slippery or it's not the right color or anything like that. If you have brows that are my color, you can do your beauty mark with it. You can fake a beauty mark with it. You can fake, oh, this is one of my favorite tricks. If you have a pimple, say like right here on the side of your cheek, cover it with your brow pencil. So say I didn't like this one. This one is from The Balm. I do like it, but I use this today to do my beauty mark. Now, usually I use an eye pencil from MAC, but today, look, can you tell a difference? No, this is the perfect shade for my beauty mark. And you can use this to make a fake beauty mark on top of a pimple, because it kind of has that raised effect a lot of moles will have, and just kind of do a little dot right on top. And people aren't going to know that that's a pimple unless, you know, it's somebody you know. You can fake it till you make it and just turn a pimple into a beauty mark. And you can also use them for liners. If you have something that's lighter, it's a little bit harder to go through those. But what I like to do with something that's too light for my brows, again, to go underneath the lash line. I love to have color on my lower lash line because it hides fine lines and it will draw your eye upward. So when you're looking at me, instead of looking at like dryness or fine lines, you will look upward. So I can take something that's a little too light, go on like I would a regular eye pencil, and then buff it out really quickly. It's another way to use something that's not quite the color for a beauty mark, but it's just dark enough to add a little bit of shade right underneath your lash line. Eyeshadows. We all have eyeshadows that we don't like, whether it is the natural tones like these right here, or what I just spoke about, these right here. These are from MAC, the new shadows. If you want to see this eye look, I did it yesterday. But first, let me start off with the natural tones. You can use these to do your brows. Just take an angled brush and fill in your brow with something that is appropriate for it. Like this one right here or this one would do my brows just fine. You can help fill in your hairline with them. Nothing is gonna fill this in, but let's say I had my natural hair color, which is about the same color as my brows. If I had like a little bit of a receding or thinning, I could take this shade and just kind of fill in and make my hairline look a little thicker. If you have some shades that, are a little on the bright side and you're like, you know what, I'm not going to use that. You can take these, kind of crumble them up and put them into nail polish. Done this so many times with pigments, but you can do it with eyeshadows too. So you want to take like a clear top coat or something like that, crumble it up, make sure you have it like extremely fine, and then mix it into that. You can paint your nails and then put a normal clear top coat on top of it, because it will change the texture of the nail polish. But again, it's just another way to make something work for you. If you have metallic shades that you don't like, it's like say this one right here, this one right here, you can even use this if you want to be a little bit more fancy. You can use those wet and create a liner. So you don't have to use them as shadows. You can use them as a liner, whether it's just a straight across the lid or a winged liner. They are beautiful. Which brings me to my next product you would need to use for shadows. You could just go in with a wet brush. It doesn't have to be a setting spray or Fix Plus, anything like that. But if you have a setting or finishing spray that you don't enjoy, I don't not like this. I actually really like this. However, I have moved on to my La Mer The Mist. There's just something that it's doing for my skin that's really, really nice. But this is the Watermelon Glow Ultra Fine Mist, and I want to finish this up. So I will take one of my shadows, say it's a metallic shadow. I will pick up the shade first. I don't like to get my brush wet and then go into the shade, just because you can create hard pan. This is just my preferred method, but really there's no right or wrong. It's whatever you like to do. Pick up the shade, and then I will take it about a foot away and spray it. That will make your metallic shadows much more intense, and it will also help you create that liner. So if you have a setting spray, whether it's a setting spray, a finishing spray, whatever it is, as long as it can get your brush wet, basically it will work. So you don't have to sit here and spray your face to use it up. You can just use it with your shadows. Anyone else have a mascara you don't like? I know I do. This one I actually don't like. So this is a product I do not like, and it is the Grande Drama Intense Thickening Mascara with castor oil. So my theory with this particular one is it's going to be conditioning to my lashes. So if I have on false lashes like I do today, I'm going to wear this underneath it. But not only will I use one that has some kind of conditioning agent in it, if I have any type of mascara that I just don't like it, I will try to go through that bottle and only use that mascara whenever I'm putting on false lashes. That way I don't feel like I've wasted my money, but I also don't feel like I'm wasting my good mascara on days where I'm wearing false lashes. Who wants to do that? Clear brow gel. I've tried so many. My favorite, my ride or die, is from Benefit. It's a 24-hour brow setter. There's just nothing like it. I like this one, but I love my Benefit one. This is from Anastasia Beverly Hills. If you have little flyaways, you know, like where your hair, like the baby hairs or whatever, right up top, you can take the brow gel and just kind of go right along wherever you have those flyaways, and this will hold them down. So if you don't like it on your brows, you might like it in your hair. Eyeliners, whether it is the pencil form, like the gel form, if you have one that you don't like, maybe you don't like the color or you don't like the way it lasts on your eyes, use it underneath shadows. Let me show you really quickly. So this is from Buxom. Again, this isn't one that I don't like. Doors Unlocked. I'm just going to put this right here. I would take this, I would put it all over my lid, and I would make, let's take this shade right here. I'm going to show you what it looks like by itself. This is what it looks like by itself. Really pretty. But now let me show you what it looks like on top of that liner. See the difference? Do you see that? Yeah, so you can use whatever colors, and if you did black, it would be even more intense. So get creative with your liners. Put them all over your lid. I'm telling you, it makes such a difference with the shadows. Look at that. That is so, I want that on my eyes right now. Like right now. Oh, so pretty. For a liquid liner, I like to use those up by going right over my lash band. So if I'm wearing lashes and I have a liquid liner that I don't like, I will make sure that any glue that could possibly be seen is covered up, and I will just use one of those liquid liners. Brushes. Tell me if there's anybody else that does this. There's been several brushes that I've gotten that I just don't like. And if they are fluffy enough, I will use them for dusting. I'm just grabbing this. Everything that's right within hand's reach is something that I like. I feel bad even saying this because I would never do this to this brush. Never. Never, 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 ever, ever, ever would I do this to this brush. But if this was a brush I did not like, I would use it to dust. I can't tell you, especially in here, my camera, my lights, there's so much powder everywhere. And then my drawers over here, they get dusty. My lipstick towers, they get dusty. Smaller areas around the house, dust with them. I'm telling you, it's so helpful, especially when you're just like in a hurry. You have like picture frames. Really, really good. This brush right here, I hate this brush. It is from NARS, and it is, what number are you? I don't think they sell this anymore. I don't remember the number of it, but it's an angled brush. I don't know what it is. I just don't like this brush. I feel like it just doesn't work for me at all. So like on my camera or like little spots that I can't get into, or my computer, I will take this and I will dust out in there with this. and I feel like I'm getting my money's worth out of this brush just by dusting with it. That is it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed finding out some ways to go through your products that you're not using or you don't like. Let me know some down below. I would love to hear some ways that you guys like to go through your products and yeah, help some people out as well. I love you guys and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.